Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zach. I am here with my co-host, Michael. Today, we're going to go over the district training for district administrators. This is going to be a big focus on the following topics. So district access levels and club access levels and how they impact each side of our platform. Managing club and member information. Assisting clubs with their RI integration services. Managing district information and configuration, and how you manage and assist with blocked emails. So we'll be going through and working through each one of these different things as we go through. And just before I dive in again, just to repeat it, if you're having any problems with seeing us, there is a link, or sorry, there's a section in the center of the screen that should allow you to adjust the view. And Michael has shared a link with a bunch of good help topics that will be there for you. Additionally, if you guys have any questions, or you can please feel free to put them into the Q&A box. That should hopefully be a button down on the bottom of your share on your screen share there. You can also put any questions that you have either to our team or with the discussion at large with everybody else into the chat. But more importantly, the Q&As, Michael is going to be attending to all of those after we've gotten through the majority of our content at the end of the webinar. He'll do his best to answer anything he can, but he may end up marking things to be talked about live, in which case we'll cover those at the very end of the webinar. So I am going to go ahead and jump right into things and get started here. So let's see, we are on our Club Runner Rotary demo district. This is a district that we use a lot in our accounts, and it's basically, it's where we keep all of our demo stuff. So I'm going to get started and head in to the members area. And at which point it's going to drop me right onto our welcome dashboard, and I'm going to get started talking just a little bit about district access levels and how they're managed. So as a district administrator that I am logged in here right now, on the district administration page, I have full access to every single part of this screen. Your district access levels control what parts of this screen are available to you, and to a bigger extent, which dashboards are available to you. So if you're a district administrator or you have special privileges in the district, for example, you are a membership editor or you are a website manager, different sections of the administrative dashboard will hide and expose themselves based on their access levels. And if the individuals aren't an actual administrator or they don't have any special privileges, they'll only be able to see this members dashboard. Now, again, because I'm an administrator, there's one extra section that is showing, which is club management. This block is only available when someone is an officer of a club, or in my case, I have district administration privileges, so I have access to everything. So most importantly, who can manage the district access levels, and in an emergency, who is responsible for them, or who can authorize our team to make additional changes? So much like the club president is in charge of the club's account, the district governor is in charge of the district's account. So in an emergency, for some reason, nobody has any administration rights in the district, the governor of the district can authorize our team to immediately change or update any of the access levels, in addition to granting themselves full access to do that management. Once someone is an administrator, the administrative permission lets you make more administrators. So you can set that as a district administrator. You will have access to the membership tab and then member access rights. So we're here at the member access rights page as a district administrator again, and we can either search by club to locate a member, we can search by name, and then once we find someone, we can take a look at their permission. So I am going to look for myself here, Chuck, the user I am logged into. We actually have a good number of Chucks, and I believe I am the Chuck in Greentown. Nope, I am not, but that is absolutely okay. We still have all of the settings that we wanted to take a look over. So as you guys can see right now on my screen, these are all the individual permissions that districts can set for users. So as a good example, why would you want to set access rights instead of letting the system manage them in some cases? So administrators, there are no administrators by default. And the only way to have an administrator is to find more administrators and have them grant access, or in an emergency again, work with our team to get those permissions reset. So now I'm on my real Charles Woods account, the one that I'm using, and we can see all the different roles. So just going over some of the roles in big fashion, we have administrators. They are the end all be all. There's nothing they can't do with small exceptions to grant related permissions. But effectively, administrators have full access to the account. You can effectively assume that they have most of these permissions. The only one that they really don't get is some of these down at the bottom, but I'll cover those in more detail. So our first permission coming down this list is the website content editor. This lets someone in the district who has this role manage most of the content on the website, but not the entire district account and not all of the master settings. So someone who's a content editor can create new pages, update existing pages, create new site pages and custom pages and update them, create new photo galleries, create new stories. You can basically think of them as a content editor. In an event where you do need someone to have all of the permission to manage the website, at this time it does require the administrative flag, but we are definitely looking to improve that. Next, we have the attendance editor. This permission allows you to be an attendance editor for to manage the attendance for the district. In most cases, most districts don't assign this permission. Next in our list, though, is a big whammy. It is the membership editor. You should definitely think of this permission as the district-wide membership editor. They will have full unrestricted access to the majority of the information in the district and the individual member information inside of clubs. A membership editor can basically do all of the membership management across the entire district. Club officers, club information, all of the members, adding, terminating, updating their profiles. Next on our list is the club information editor permission. The club information editor position is actually the same right that we automatically assign to club officers, but you'll never see them have this permission assigned in the access rights. Rather, when they log in, we assign it while they're logged in, and it gets removed the moment that they log out. But what this permission does most importantly is any user who has it can edit their own club information. It is literally the exact same permission we do assign to the club officers when they log in. Moving along, I'm going to talk about email executives only and email all members. We have two district communication roles. The first role, district communication, email executives only, allows members of the district who have this role to send emails out to primarily the pre-generated communication list that we have. So club, think about the district's officers and directors and the club officers and directors and things of that nature. Email all members, on the other hand, is the other half of this permission. It opens up all the restrictions for managing email and contacts and everything else, including the ability to send bulletins for the district. So when you can email everyone unrestrictedly, you have access to the bulletins as well. Next, we have the event permission. This quite simply gives the district person who is logged in access to the event planner and calendar items and the event planner email. So they get limited access to schedule just events. Similarly, My Event Runner Administrator makes someone able to administrate all of the My Event Runner events that the district has set up. As a note, My Event Runner is typically bundled with our e-commerce module. In some cases, you may have access to this without it, but to be able to administrate all of the My Event Runner events, you would need to assign this permission. If you do end up assigning My Event Runner administrator to anybody, just note that that's full administration rights for all of the My Event Runner events for the district. If you need to, for some reason, assign a specific club access to My Event Runner or a specific person who doesn't normally have access, making them the event chair in My Event Runner will give them access just to that one My Event Runner event, not all My Event Runner events. Next, we have the district beta tester permission. This is a very old permission that is in the process of being updated. As of today, it doesn't do too much besides giving some access to some of the older website features. And I note that because effectively, this was a very old role from Club Runner like when I first joined, and it was so you could convert to V3. We are working to update it. Next, we have a very loaded permission, which is download member data. Anyone who has this permission in the district can export all of the district's membership information. The only way to have access to download member data is to either have it assigned to them through this flag or to be an administrator. But download member data, again, full district export of data, strongly recommend minimizing the number of people who have access to that role. Same thing with administrator. Administrator can create more administrators. People who can export the entire district's data have a lot of, you'd want to make sure that they know how to store and keep that data securely if they are exporting it for use for other systems. Our last three permissions are the grant administrator. So for districts who are subscribers to our grant module, grant administrators are able to fully manage the grant module itself. By default, administrators are not also grant administrators, but as administrators, they can grant themselves access to the grants module. The grant user permission is an individual permission. Like administrators, it grants you access to manage the day-to-day activities in the grants module. So when users submit their grant, you can go in, you can look at it, you can move the grants through their processes, but you can't make major updates to the grants module. So you can kind of think of it as like your grants committee member permission. These people can go in and move grants through the stages, but they can't manage the module itself. Last, we also have the My Event Runner read-only access permission. Like My Event Runner Administrator, it does give you access to everything, but in this case, read-only access. So you can, this is a great permission if you have someone who's on the finance committee who needs to go and run reports for My Event Runner to understand billing and payment allocation, but you don't want them to have access to manage the actual events. So I talked about two of the permissions that are automatically assigned, and I want to talk about them in a little bit more depth because they're really important for understanding how the district works. So when someone, again, is defined as a club executive, so I'm going to change pages here just for a minute. I'm going to look at the current executives for Azure Metro. We don't have any. I'm going to go ahead and quickly add some member from our list, and we're going to add them as the president. And the important thing about this is now that I have added Carolyn Allen as the president of the club, the next time that Carolyn logs into her district's website, she will have full access to the For Clubs tab here that I'm using right now, and she will have access to all the different tools that she needs to manage her club. Same for all of the positions in the district that are flagged as a club executive. These permissions are automatic. So as Carol logs in and completes her year, the next year, she'll still actually have some of these permissions to help carry over, but they automatically go away once someone is no longer an officer. The same is true for the district's organization chart. You will receive the email executives only option when you are an officer of the district. In that case, that means every single person who's put on the organization chart, whether it's your governor, your executives, your officers, your area governors or assistant governors, all of these members automatically have that email executives permission and automatically receive it. So that mostly concludes all of our district access levels. And I want to touch really quickly on club access levels. So I'm going to go back to I'm going to use my For Members tab here, and I'm actually going to look at my individual profile so we can talk about the setting. So The reason we like to talk about this here is we do get this question a lot, and I really want to reinforce it. So when a user is logged into the district's website, the club access levels are more or less irrelevant. Charles here, logged into his club's website, is a club administrator. Using his club website, he has full permission to manage every aspect of his club. There are quite literally zero restrictions for him. If he can't do something, no one is able to do it, and they'd have to contact our team. And just to reinforce that, when Charles logs into the district, in this case, this is me, his permissions now come from the district's access levels and any of the automatically assigned permissions we just went over. So the really important takeaway here that if a club is not a subscriber to Club Runner, you cannot the club cannot manage and you cannot manage their access levels, and they would only work if the club was a subscriber, if they're using their club's website. So again, when they log on to the district, all of the district permissions take over, and you as an administrator of the district cannot manage other members' access levels. So you can see here, I am modifying my own profile, but this would pretty much be locked out for the district as well. You can't assign or manage these roles at the club level. The club access is only for the club to manage. But just like in a situation where the district has no administrators and can't make any progress, the club also has a backup. Their club president can contact us, let us know who needs to get that access or to be changed, and we'll take that out. So just to really reinforce that, club access levels do not work with the district's website and do not have any impact on club members using the district's website. There's a very tiny exception to that, but it's only if someone's club access level is very, well, I guess it depends on the direction you're looking, low or high. There is a club access level 80 and a club access level 90. Both of these access levels are restrictive and do prevent that user from using the district's website and permissions in some contexts, but in most cases, if you have a club in your district that is not a Club Runner subscriber, their access levels will never change. All right, so let's take a look at how we as a district administrator would start to manage our clubs and how we manage that information. So I am going to head back to our administrative tab just real quick here to our administrative dashboard. And I want to head into the clubs and memberships. So under club and membership management here, I do have the clubs and membership link. Additionally, anywhere that I am in the system for the most case, I should also be able to use the membership tab and then the clubs and membership. So from here, we can see our list of clubs. As you guys can see, this is a demo district, and this is in our production environment. None of these clubs are real Rotary clubs, so unfortunately, none of their integration services are active. If they were real clubs, we could actually enable their integration and work with them on that, and we'll be touching on that a little bit later. But if these clubs were opted in, there would be a green check mark instead of the red X, and that's what this column means. It is their status of Rotary integration. Generally speaking, it is the on or off status, whether or not it is opted in or not. There are some additional statuses that we don't show here, but we can get to that in a few minutes. As a special hint for everybody here, if you would like to figure out which of your clubs are subscribers and which of your clubs are not, looking at this club and membership list will actually give you a pretty clear indication. At this time, the only club in this district that is a subscriber is the Rotary Club of Purple Metro. We can confirm that by seeing this website icon as internal. This indicates that they have their own Club Runner subscription. The external website link, just indicates that they've filled out their club information page and have a website link, but this internal one indicates that they actually have their own Club Runner subscription, which clicking on it will take you to. As a second note, there is a club directory on the front end of the website for the district, and that same subscriber status is reflected with a gold house versus a gray house. Just some additional information on that. So let's jump right into the club information. So I am going to attempt to pull up the club information for Purple Metro right now. And as you guys can see, as soon as we land on this page, we're greeted with a nice little warning or display message. This club is a subscriber. Therefore, the district is not permitted to modify their details. For things that the district, at least for the club details, when the club is a subscriber, only the club themselves can update this page and this information. If we choose another club in our district, I'm going to choose Azure Metro instead of Purple Metro. We can see that this club is not a subscriber, and as such, we can start to modify their details. So for example, if we knew that their meeting time was incorrect, or that they just didn't have their GPS coordinates listed, we could go in to click on the edit screen here. We could update the time. You know what? They meet at 6, not 7. I don't know if they have any comments, but these meeting comments, not only are they shared with the public, but they are integrated at Rotary. If the club of theirs meets online, you can have special details only for the members of the club to have access to. There is the meeting location details. And as an extra secret option here, for any reason, if your clubs are not displaying on the map of clubs on the district, that's typically because their latitude and longitude has not been updated. If for some reason that is true, you as an administrator can come in, click edit, and simply check the update latitude longitude button here. And based on the address, we will repopulate the latitude and longitude field. So I actually know that we are now at 2010 Winston Park Drive. So let's go ahead and hit save. That has updated, and you guys can see that our GPS details have changed and our address details have changed. As a non-subscriber, you can modify all of the rest of the values here. The only value that the district and clubs are really not able to modify is the club ID. For any reason, if a club ID is empty or not properly filled in, you can reach out to the Club Runner support team and we will get those IDs updated for you. In addition to the club information here, we can also take a look at the club's executives. We did just add Carolyn Allen here. We could either add new positions if we needed them, if we knew the positions and they weren't there, or if this club had their integration services available, we would be able to use the executive compare and synchronize to either pull down information from Rotary or push it to Rotary. Just one moment. Sorry about that, guys. I had a sneeze and I didn't want to do it all. And I didn't want to hit the microphone with that, so I apologize. So that is it for all of our individual club information for our club executives and club details. So let's take a look at the full member profile so we can get a good idea of all of those items. So once again, we are going to return to the membership, clubs and membership page. And then from here, we can click into any of our members lists rather, and we can take a look at our users. I'm going to keep picking on Carolyn because we've been working with her so far. So let's keep, actually just to talk about a couple things on this page before we dive in there. Very quickly, for clubs that have integration services enabled, you can use the transfer new member option. This allows you to search for Rotarians at Rotary International to import them into the club. And add new member also has similar connections where that we will check Rotary International for the users that are being added, as long as that integration is enabled, and it is very nice. So just continuing though, from here, we can see that we can click into Carolyn's profile by clicking on her name. If we needed to assign designations to Carolyn, we can do through the designations link. And if their status was incorrect in the club, for example, they should be an honorary member or they should be terminated, we can use the change status link. We can even use that to update their active membership type. And if we needed to, we can use this link to jump directly to the password reset page. Let's jump into Carolyn's profile. So now we are taking a look at Carolyn's profile. Just like the club version, the district has full access to manage most of the settings on this page. So we have all of our general good information: title, first name, last name, nickname, suffix, home address, preferred phone, and email. And just on 2 notes, this title is the member's personal title or salutations, Mr., Mrs., etc. It should not be used for their job title. And suffix is similar. It is just an N, so junior, senior, etc. On the right-hand side, we have gender, date of birth, anniversary, spouse, partner information, and their dues and billing email preference. Though this is specific to the club version of Club Runner, we also have an alternative email. Additionally, we have both the home and work addresses. And if the club had any, their custom fields would be displayed below. Custom fields are only available to club subscribers at this time. Moving along, we have the Rotary tab. Members themselves are not able to manage most of the details in this tab, just as an FYI. So if they are asking for assistance, that would be something a district administrator, a membership editor, or club officer would have to do to assist them. So we have things like the Rotary member number, which is used in their integration services. We have a membership field here, which is primarily used if they had any previous membership in other clubs. We have an office field if they have served in any past offices, for example, district governor, club president, or other club officers. We have a sponsor field, which allows the club to track their sponsor. If integration is enabled and the name of the sponsor matches the sponsor at Rotary, like an active member who's currently in the club, it will be used for their sponsor. Otherwise, you can enter non-member sponsors and it will be tracked in Club Runner, but those changes won't go over to Rotary International. Next tab we have is the Biographies tab. The Biographies tab just allows you to store some additional information about your personal public biography, your vocational description, and your private biography. Members are able to update the screen on their own. The commitments page for members goes over all of the things this member is committed to. If they have any club events or volunteer tasks, any meeting responsibilities from their club or new member program from their club, and any committees that they are a member of. So if they had any My Event Runner registrations linked to their membership, if they had any volunteering data, if they had any district events that they were registered for, all that information would be showing here. Moving along, our next tab is the Settings tab. The Settings tab contains the members' club access level, which we've talked about a little bit at length now, but as a reminder, it does not have an impact on the district's website for the most part. Here, though, on the settings page, we can verify the member's username and or change it. In addition, we can reset a member's password. So when resetting other users' passwords, and in this case, other users as in other members besides yourself, as an administrator or a club officer or a membership manager for the district, you can manually set a new password for those members. You don't have to know their old password. So in a pinch, if you had a member struggling, you would be able to come here, confirm their login name or update it for them, enter a new password and give them those details. We'll go over password resets in a little bit more detail in a minute here. I just want to finish talking about the privacy tab. So let's get right. There's also the custom email signature. So if you are a member of the club or the district and you frequently send emails, you can store your own signature in your profile. Last, we have the privacy page. So the privacy page includes communication preferences, whether or not a member is subscribed to any specific emails or opted out in the case of the Club Runner service updates. We also have the Club Runner privacy settings. These privacy settings allow members, for the most part, to control what information is exposed to other members of the district. So as a really good example, we have our internal district member search, and we have our the mobile app. The district privacy settings inform those pages on what information users want to see. So in a case where you have a member who would prefer that their home address and contact details are not available to the district at large, you can go into the privacy settings, edit and uncheck these and save them. And shortly thereafter, all of that will be updated the next time someone goes and checks the mobile app and tries to fetch their information, or they try to use the district member search to locate them. Whatever preferences they've selected will be honored. Even going so far as if they've unselected allow search, they won't be available. There are a couple exceptions to this. Most notably is if you are an officer of a club, you can opt out a lot of your information, but your name and details that you are who you are. You know, you're John Smith, you're the club president of, you know, the Rotary Club of Azure Metro. That would be it. Even if you allowed the search, even if you had disabled everything else, we still have to display that because it's public in other places. The club privacy settings are also unique just to the club, but as you can see, they are more or less almost identical with the exception of the birthday information. We do not make birthdays available for public consumption through the district's website. For members or otherwise, only staff have access to that information. Lastly, we have our RI integration privacy. This is another set of privacy that goes over the club's own privacy options. And in this case, because this club is not integrated right now, all of these options are opted out. And as you can see, if the club opts out of a setting, the member cannot override that choice. It is always forced on. So just as a really quick hint here, whenever you're working with an email and for some reason you're not able to select someone for an email, you'll see in the list of users that they aren't checkable. In most cases, it probably means that they've unsubscribed from that email type, or they don't have a valid email. Those are the two biggest cases. So I have unsubscribed Carolyn here. So if we get over that way and we take a look at that, we'll be able to see it. But just also to confirm that as a district administrator, you are able to manage those privacy settings. Just remember that you really shouldn't opt someone in or out without at least confirming or understanding that that is their intent. So before you just go putting someone back into district emails or district bulletins, make sure that they know you're going to do that so they don't continue to report emails as spam or anything else like that. So let's go back to the settings page. So the reason I want to come back here is I want to talk about how everyone can help their membership recover their passwords. The most straightforward thing that we typically recommend is have the members attempt to go through the self-service option. So I am going to copy our address here. I'm going to very, very quickly open up a guest tab and pull up the homepage. So I am now logged out. I'm going to go ahead and click on member login, and I'm going to go ahead and click on any one of these options. Forgot username, forgot password, new user. All three take you to the same place. This retrieve login page information. So you do have to select your club. And once you select your club, you would be able to put in an email address. And I'm pretty sure someone in Greentown has that email address. Oh, they did. Fantastic. Unfortunately, there were still more than I was expecting. Let's see if that gets me lucky. No. So I don't have an example to trigger it, but the difference here would be that if I had a correct email address and last name, it would say success. We've sent you your password reset. And what happens for members who are going through that process is not only will they get the password reset email, in that email, there will be a link. Clicking on the link brings them to a page that quite literally tells them what their login name and password is. I'm actually going to go over to our support center. No, I don't want login, password reset. So, and here, perfect. How do I retrieve my login name and password for the district? So just going through the same steps here, we can click on forgot login name, forgot password, or new user. It brings us to the retrieve login information page. Once you enter your correct details, it will tell you that and send it to you. You will receive the reset password link, and it is only valid for 24 hours. Clicking on that link will bring you to the reset password page. And I want everybody here, I can't really make this image any bigger, but the most important thing is it shows you your login name. And I will confirm more often than not, if someone has been through the password reset process several times and they're telling you that it's just not working, they more than likely have their login name correct. The most common things we see are people either omitting the periods where they need to be there, adding periods where there shouldn't be, or trying to use their email address instead of the login name. Members can make their login name their email address, but the login name does have to be unique for the platform. So just note that users cannot change their login name through the password reset process, but it is confirmed for them. Once you've entered your new password and submitted it, it will tell you that it has been completed successfully, and then it will send you back to the login page. Again, if someone has gone through this stage multiple times and they're telling you it's just not working, well, how can you verify that for yourself? So we are going to head back over to our other tab here. I'm going to head right back into the members area. We're going to head to our membership, and we'll actually use this member serves. And I am looking for Miss Carolyn Allen. There she is. As a staff member, I can click on her name. So again, we can return to the settings page, and here we can see the member's login name and password. So in this case, Carolyn has gone through the password reset several times. She's telling me it's not working. No matter what I do, Club Runner won't work. I put the username and password in and it just won't let me log in. Here's how you can troubleshoot that yourself. So as an administrator, you're going to navigate to the member's profile. You're going to confirm their login name and you're going to reset their password. I'm going to type in a new password here. All right, hopefully, no, apparently I did not get them both. There we go. I now have the password matching in both boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So we now know Carolyn Allen's login name and Carolyn Allen's password. Once again, I am going to open a guest or a private browsing window. I am going to grab the address for our district here and paste it. So I know Carolyn Allen's login name. Let's come back here to Club Runner and into the member profile. So there is her login name. I am going to use Control-C to copy it. I'm going to return to this page. I am going to paste her login name, and I'm going to enter the password that I just set. So I reset her password, I verified her login name, and using both of those credentials, I was successfully able to log in. So the next time someone tells you that it's impossible to get logged in, verify that for yourself. Have them go through that password reset. If the problem's still there, we often really like to get the member to read out or send us a screenshot of their login name, because honestly, that is most often the incorrect detail. And that's just why I'm really repeating it so many times, is that this username is almost always the problem if someone has gone through that reset several times. So let's move right along to Rotary International Integration. Now, again, because our district isn't a real district for Rotary International and our clubs are not real clubs, we cannot actually enable any of the integration settings for any of our clubs, but we can definitely talk about the process to make that happen. So in order for any of your clubs to opt into Rotary International Integration, there are several things that need to be done first. Number one, they need to have a correct and valid club ID. So for example, Azure Metro here, even if they had done all of their steps at Rotary International, would not be able to opt in their integration. However, assuming they have a correct club ID, the next setting that needs to happen is a club officer, if they haven't already, needs to go to myrotary.org and opt the club in through their integration services. So again, I'm going to switch tabs real quick. I'm going to head back to our support center and integration district. Here's activating RI integration on the district. And let's see, is there let's take a look at this one. I believe this is the page I want. So for this specific guide, this is talking about how it is done. So the first step is having a club officer go to My Rotary and following this PDF that Rotary provides. I'm going to click on the PDF to download it. I'm going to open it up here, and you can see here that this is the official documentation from Rotary International, and they go through all the different steps. So the club officer has to go to My Rotary and log in. They have to scroll down to the club management systems and click edit. If they already have a vendor, if they don't have a vendor, they'll need to add one. Once added, they need to select the access levels. There are two, and very quickly, just touching on them, the two different types are view and edit and view only. For most customers, they would potentially prefer the view and edit. However, at the end of the day, it is absolutely up to the club on what they set and which one they feel comfortable with. The big important thing to note is that view and edit allows the integration services in Club Runner to automatically make sure that the changes performed at the club or the district website are sent to Rotary. If in any case the club chooses the view only option, they will only be able to pull data from Rotary International. They will not be able to report data from Rotary International. So whichever setting that they choose and set, they have to check the certification and agree to the terms and conditions. And once done, it is activated. In most cases, it's pretty quick, 5-10 minutes. As soon as Club Runner will see that usually within an hour or two after Rotary has made that change. However, in some cases, it can take up to 24 hours. But like I said, usually within an hour or two, you should be able to come back into the district's website and go to the synchronized settings page and see that it's there. Once it's turned on at Rotary International, the club can return to Club Runner, or for non-subscribers, the district can return to the Club Runner installation, and they can enable the synchronization settings. The really important thing is the only individuals who can make these changes at Rotary's end are the current year club officers. For some reason, if the club officers are having problems, there is a paper form that can be obtained from My Rotary that will allow you, that allows the club president to fill it out, submit it to the Rotary data team, and what they will do is enable that on behalf of the club. But in most cases, they really prefer that the clubs do it themselves, but there is a backup paper form. So in a pinch, I know that's available at My Rotary, and the club and district service support team would be able to assist further with that. And that is Rotary's club and district support service. So of course, if you guys reach out to us, we'll still point you in the right direction and make sure you guys get carried through on all of that. So if the Rotary Club of Blue Village here had already swapped on their integration at Rotary and all of the other settings were good, we would have a checkbox here that we could check, enable the integration services on behalf of the club, and make any privacy changes for them. As a note, if the club is a subscriber to Club Runner, you will not be able to manage their integration services on their behalf. You would have to work with the club to get them to update it. But you can still come here and see their settings, and you can still use the tools on those clubs. All right, we are going to move along to talking about actually, I'm going to make a small swap here. We're going to talk one more thing about clubs, and then we're going to move on to the district organization chart. So the last thing I want to talk about for club-related things are their executives. Now, you can obviously go club by club and set up individual club position, add their president, add their secretary, but every now and again, either the district has a special need or Rotary changes which positions that are reported, and we might need to add, manage, or update our club positions. So we can do that by clicking on that Define Club Position Types link. It is also available from the Organization tab for define club position types. And as you can see here, we have our list of officers. Now, very specifically, I know that this district is missing 2 of the newest officers that Rotary International is tracking, and I want to make sure we get that added. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm going to hit add new position. I'm going to call this the club service projects chair, because I know that is the position. And we have a couple different columns here. So position is the name of the position. It is also the default title for the position. When clubs set up their own positions, they can override the title of the position, but the position will always be this position for the district. For the position, there are 3 flags that the position can exist in. There's an executive position, which means that when this person is logged in, they are logged into the district's website, they are an officer of their club, and they're able to make changes to their club membership and manage their club effectively. So 100%, the club president should be an executive. We typically recommend the executive position for most of the Rotary integrated officers because executives can only be defined once in the club. And at this time, Rotary still only permits a single person to hold the position within the club. So I'm going to set this as executive, but we also have director. Directors go into the director category on the club information page. They do not convey any additional permissions or powers when they're using the district's website. Last, there is other. This basically makes it so that they won't, in most cases, display on the club's executives and officers page, but they are still able to be tracked. So I am going to set this executive. We have the club service project chair there listed, and looking down our list of code positions, we can see all of the positions that are available. Very quickly, president, secretary, executive secretary, treasurer, the Rotary Foundation chair, membership chair, service projects chair, and club public image chair are all integrated and tracked positions at Rotary International. Note, I did not say president-elect. The only presidents-elect are not tracked, only the presidents of that year. But back to my point, we need to add the club service projects chair. Again, I have set it as that appropriate title. I have set it as an executive, and I have linked it to the club service projects chair. Linking it to the club service project chair now informs the integration service that this position should be reported to Rotary as the club service projects chair. And if there are officers reported at Rotary International already matching it, we can now pull them down into Club Runner. I'm going to go ahead and do one more because we also need the public image chair, and I don't think we have one defined now. Public image chair. So now that I've set both of those positions up for the district, all of the clubs in our district are now able to add those. So just as a good reminder, the club service project chair and club public image chair are brand new positions this Rotary year. If you haven't set them up, I would definitely encourage you guys to go and do so. Doing so allows the members of the district and the clubs to sync that data down or report that data to Rotary. But that is a very new change. It only came into effect right at the end of actually the beginning of this previous the beginning of this Rotary year. Apologies. All right, so let's talk about the district organization chart quickly, and then I have one more subject to talk about, which are blocked emails. So let's keep going. So I am going to now head to the organization tab and the district organization chart. So very importantly, the district's organization chart is all of the positions that the district tracks. So district governor, secretary, treasurer, your board of directors, your officers, all of your area governors, and the areas that they serve. Before you go into the next year, if I hit next year here, or the year in front of that, I'm going to use 2023-24 just as a starting place since it isn't carried over yet. Before I would go into the next year, and we can see that this year is fully empty here, I would not want to just start populating the information here. The reason for that is not only if I use the carryover option here, rather, not only will I pull all of the data that has already been set up here, it also ensures that all of the district's committees are carried over and continuously linked to the positions, to their officers that they should be. If you carry over the district organization chart, or rather, if you don't carry over the district organization chart, your committees can't be carried over as well. So definitely make sure that if you are managing committees in the district that you use the carryover feature. It will also help prevent you from setting up all of the club area information again, which is also somewhat tedious. I know we have some plans to improve that, but the most important thing is if this carryover is grayed out, all that it means is someone, so if I go back 1 year here, I can't do a carryover simply because there is already data in the next year. So for any reason, if there is data in the next year, I can start clearing it. So I can clear Carlo, I can delete these positions here. I can delete Jim, I can delete Zach. And instead of manually populating it, as soon as that position clears, I can go back a year. And from here, I would now be able to use the carryover option, not only to carry over my committees, but all of the current officers on the organization chart. Obviously, for very big districts who have a lot of officers, that carryover is really going to come in handy. When you do a carryover, all of the current data is carried over to the new year. So if I use carryover here, all of the positions, titles, and data that is already set up is immediately carried over to the new year. Immediately might be a little generous, but nearly immediately it is carried over. And once done, you're on that page, so you don't have to go and rechange all of these things. The only thing you have to do now is update them instead of resetting all of them up. And I will definitely tell you, if you have areas and their governors and all the clubs are assigned, you absolutely want to use that carryover to avoid extra work. So that's all that I'm really going to touch on for the organization chart. The last thing I will, just as a big reminder, say again, is that for any of the individuals who are assigned to the district's organization chart, they automatically get that member access right, email, the email executives access right. And just because I'm touching on it again, I'm going to jump into our email services and I will touch on which which distribution lists or which email lists they automatically have access to. So I am on this email page. If I was one of those members that were listed there as a club or as a district officer, I would have access to district executives for the current and upcoming year, club executives for the current and upcoming year, custom distribution lists, and contact groups. However, I do not get access to the active members custom, honorary, or inactive members. Those are only for the individuals who have the email all permission. And finally, just wrapping up on our email topic, we're going to talk a little bit about blocked emails. So every time somebody in the district sends out an email, there is a small possibility there will be a delivery problem. There are various types of delivery problems. As you guys can see here, most of these are all here because they're invalid email addresses categorically. Example.com is not real. But the important thing to understand is when an email has come to this page, we are no longer delivering email to that user. They're still able to be emailed directly, like you will still have the ability to email them in all of the Club Runner pages. We do not specifically take them out, but our email system will filter them out when delivering them because they are already on our block list. So you may ask, how does an email become blocked? There are two primary ways. The most common way is that when we attempt to deliver an email, there is a delivery problem. Our email platform will actually keep retrying for up to 72 hours to deliver emails for any reason that there is some sort of deferment or problem delivering the email that is considered temporary. So for example, if we can't access the DNS records for that external mail server, or the user is over quota on their email, or the mail servers just aren't available for some reason, we'll keep trying. But after a certain point, if we have been trying for this to deliver the same email and those errors aren't changing, they will turn into a block. Some other types of blocks would be really common for customers to run into would be things related to no user here. Typically, that means that email address isn't valid. Those are the most common cases, though. Either there's some sort of DNS or delivery issue, the user's over their quota, the email address isn't valid anymore. That's typically how most emails end up on the block list. In addition to the automated block list emails, because we couldn't deliver them, users of the platform can also report any email sent from our platform as spam. Most email providers, the big ones, Outlook, Yahoo, etc., they have built-in spam mechanics. So when a user of one of your clubs or district uses that junk email or spam email option in their email client, or they explicitly go out of their way to move it to the blocked, like their junk folder, that triggers a spam report. And unlike a blocked email report, which is basically solely an issue between our email platform and the delivery, like the service accepting it, when someone reports an email as spam that has that feedback loop, so the Outlooks and the Yahoos, for example, not only does that mark the email that they received as spam, it also helps count against the reputation of the clubrunner.email service. Even if you as an administrator go and remove the spam report, which you'll need to do to get new emails to be delivered, the member also needs to take care to go into their email account and undo their mark as spam. Regardless of how a spam report comes in, once the spam report is in the system, we do not deliver email to it anymore until it's removed. Additionally, even after you remove it from the system, those emails may continue to go into junk or spam. You've told the administrator of the account has told the email system, no, it's not a spam report. But as far as that user's email platform is concerned, we might be violating the fact that they reported spam to us. So whenever you are running into spam reports in the blocked email system, make sure you reach out to that user and talk with them. If you guys have any questions about the email that they reported as spam, in most cases, we should be able to assist with that, and we would be able to quite literally let you know, yes, this was the specific email that was reported for spam. So that is that. And it is really important to make sure to tell the users who do report spam that if they get an unwanted email from the district or from their club, the best thing to do is to unsubscribe for it. If they think it's a malicious or nasty email that they shouldn't have received, they can alert you, who can alert us, or they can contact us directly as well. But really, if they do use that spam report option, working with them and making sure to let them know that they need to return to their email provider and go find that email that they reported as spam and not mark it as spam will do wonders to make sure they continue getting their emails. We've been getting a lot of that lately, so I really wanted to make sure we got that covered on our webinar today. So just really quickly, if you're going through your email, for example, George here, all of these emails are invalid, but let's say we knew George's updated email. We would still want to remove the unblock, but we'd also want to go directly to George's profile by clicking edit profile. This will actually take us directly to George. And from there, we would be able to update their contact information and fix their email address. So for example, for George here, I know that George's real email address is sync.sendgrid.net, this is just a email testing address. Anything at sync.sendgrid.net will generate valid statistics for us. But now if we send George an email, he will actually have that delivered instead of just being blocked. Same thing, if he had had a spam report, we would want to remove it from the manage blocked email page. I'm just going to hit back a few times. We're going to get back at our block. So we're going to pretend that we have fixed the issue. We're going to unblock the email address. And now for confirmation, the email addresses themselves are what are blocked, not the member's profile, not the member's details. So if you go and fix George here, like I just did, you technically don't need to remove him from the block list, but it will never go away from the block list either. So strong recommendation to block those. If you're going through a really big batch of email blocks and working through them with users, I strongly recommend exporting the details. This gives you a full report for historical reasons. Sometimes the error message or the reason may change between delivery attempts. If it's changing every time you attempt to deliver it, that more than likely indicates that there's probably a temporary issue with the account. If you've sent someone an email several times and it keeps coming back with the same error message, you should assume that the error is more permanent and that you will need to work with the member to resolve it. In addition to the individual removes, you can check one or more of the checkboxes on the page and do a bulk unblock selected. You can also check all of the email addresses and unblock them. It should refresh here in a minute and continue removing those. So I think that is all that I have today for all of our big questions. I'm going to throw it over to our Q&A to Michael now.
All right. Thank you very much, Zach, for the very informative session. I hope all the information that he did go over today was very helpful. So now I'm going to go over some of the more commonly asked questions that our team does receive, just from various different districts and clubs, just going through and using the platform in general. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. So we should see some things here. So we are still logged into our Club Runner demo district, and we're going to go over a couple of different areas. One big question that we do get quite a bit is how can we go ahead and get some statistics regarding the membership of our district? We've talked about how you can go through and you can edit their information, you can manage the clubs, and you can make sure everything is good to go. But how can we get some stats on stuff like that? So within Club Runner, we have we have a handful of different reports that we are able to go through, and we can use to gather various different pieces of information regarding our membership. So you may see I already have this highlighted in my navigation menu. We have up at the top here, highlighted in white. So we can click on reports here. And then we have access to a number of different items just below it in the secondary bar that we have. You can also scroll down on the district administration dashboard just a little bit to the reports section down here, highlighted in yellow, where you have access to all of these same reports as well. So let's scroll back up to the top. So each of these different reports will allow you to gather a handful of different types of information. So the very first one that we have here in the list is the eDirectory reports. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. So if we click on eDirectory reports, it'll bring us to this new page where we can see we have a handful of different reports that are listed here. We have a number of yearly reports that are listed. So we can go ahead and we can generate a report of our club and district leadership directory. So this will give us a PDF or a Word document of all of the different club officers and executives within the club and district. We can also get just a report of club executives and directors, so a full list for each club within the district, the various different club presidents for each of the clubs. We can get a report of all of our committees, as well as a district organization. So this includes all of the district executives as well as the club presidents. And then we also have another version here, which is the same thing, but with some photos. And as you can see, as we move down, there are a handful of different reports that we can select from. If any of these do interest you, you can feel free to go ahead and generate any one of them just by clicking on this blue regenerate button to the right-hand side of all of these different reports. And as you may see, we already have a handful that are already generated here. So let's go ahead and click on some of these just to take a look at what they look like. So let's take a look at the club and district leadership directory. All we got to do is click on the icons here for depending on which format we want to take a look at. So on the left, we have the Word format, which will give us a nice Word compatible file that we can open up using Microsoft Word. or we can go ahead and take a PDF document. If we click on it, it will automatically bring us to the PDF document so that we can review it. And as you can see, we now have a report of all of these different, all of these member information for the various different district leaders and club administrators and things like that. We have access to their name, their position, their preferred addresses, and any contact information that they might have shared as well. But this isn't the only types of report that we have. If you are interested in building some of your own custom reports, you do have access to the eDirectory Builder. We're not going to be going through the process of using this today, but just know that this is really a fairly powerful tool that you can use to generate your own reports of your membership. Next, we have the dashboard. So let's go ahead and visit this. The dashboard here will give us a monthly view or a monthly overview of our membership history, either throughout the entire district, within an area, or on an individual club basis. So by default, you'll be looking at the information for our district in general. So you can see we have a membership history report at the top, and it will track the total membership across the entire or across these various different months. So as of July 20th, we had about 213 members. And then as we move forward to April, to the April 22nd, we have, or sorry, April 2022, I should say, we have just under 280 members here. So this gives you a nice little graph of some of this information. If we move over to the right-hand side, we have some more specific information for the current month, which we can see for our district. We've had a total of 1 active member added to the district. We've had 2 members terminated, and we've had 2 individuals log into the district's website. Again, this is testing information, or a testing account that we are using for the webinar here. So these stats may not be super accurate, but you may want to take a look at these for your own district, and you'll be able to get a really good understanding of kind of the interactivity of your members with the district's website. And if you want to take a look at the report for the whole year, we also have the option of this as well. So all we have to click on is the link that says this Rotary year underneath the membership overview. And what we'll do is it'll update this single membership overview section for the entire year. So now instead of looking at the April 2022 month, we're just looking at this entire Rotary year from 2021 to 2022. So we can see that there is a number of different, so we've had 26 members join in total of our membership going up. Next, we have in total, we had 32 active members added, 6 members terminated, and 22 unique logins. If we scroll down, we have some more reports down here as well. And you can take a look at these however you would like. If we continue to go across the reports category, we can take a look at some things like the club size and growth. So we can see the general comparison between how the different clubs are growing in membership throughout the year. We have a years of service report, which will give us the exact numbers of years of service of all of the different members in our club. So we can see the number of people that have under 1 year of membership, 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10 years, and so on. As you see, as more and more members are continuing to have higher numbers of service, you'll be able to see these, and track these statistics through this report as well. And we have, including that, we have a bunch of different other ones. So we also have the age distribution report, which works very similarly. It'll give you an overview of the various different age groups within the district. We have a gender distribution report, which gives you a good breakdown between males, the amount of males, females within the district, as well as anyone that may prefer not to share their gender with the district, or they go by, or they prefer another gender identity. All of that information can be tracked here. We can also take a look at the login activity report, and this will allow us to get a good idea of some of the information that, some more information as to how members of the district and the clubs are using the district's website. So this, as we go through, it'll give us a report of the dates that individual members are logging in and taking a look at all of the different information. So we can see we have a number of lists for people that had logged in within the past month. We can see for anyone that had logged in a month to 3 months ago, 4 to 6 months, 7 to 12 months, and over a year, as well as individuals that have never logged into the website. So you can take a look at this to gauge how often people are interacting with the district's website, or at least logging in and accessing the member features. And then a really big one that we have is the download member data report here. This will allow us to gather a big spreadsheet of of specific member information that we're looking for. So to give you a quick rundown on this, there's a number of different steps that we can go through. And number one is to select the fields that we want to extract. So we have this big list of various different profile fields that is in just about every member's profile, or can be extrapolated from that individual's profile. And we can go through and we can select all of the pieces of information that we need. So say we can say we want the first name, the last name, we want their club, as well as their preferred address. And we'll also go over their ad list line 1, city, state, province, zip, postal code, and country. So we can gather pretty much whatever information that we want. And then if we scroll down a little bit, we have access to step 2, where we can customize a bunch of the different filters to gather this information for members or for individuals that we are specifically looking for. So we can select what type of member type we're looking for. So we can either go for every type of member within the district. So this includes active members, honorary members, other user records, as well as inactive members. Or we can individually select which types of members we want to include. And then as we scroll down, we can continue to select things like a date, like a range of when they joined their club or the district. If we're looking for inactive members, we can look for when they were terminated. We can look for the date that the individual had last logged into the website, the last time their profile was updated, if they held a district position as an officer or an executive, you can look for that information as well. And we have a bunch of different filters that you can go through and you can use. Once you've finished selecting all of this information for your download member data report, you can go ahead and choose to go and move to this 3. And this is where we generate the report and extract all this information. Now, if this is a report that you plan on using fairly regularly, you can go ahead and you can save the search for future use. So we can go ahead and click yes. And then we're just going to enter in a name for this report. And then from there, we can go ahead and click on generate. This can take some time depending on the amount of records that we want to get. But once it's done, you get this nice message that says data successfully generated. Please click the download button to download the file. Now, if we scroll back down to the page, down the bottom of the page, we now have access to a download button where we can go ahead and retrieve our report. So if we download this, you'll see that we get a nice little message with our browser showing that it has been downloaded. And then we go ahead and we can open this report to take a look at all of that information. Now, since we did save that report, if we scroll back up to the top and we look on the left-hand side, we'll see a section that says My Saved Searches. Whenever you come back to the download member data report, you can go ahead, or the download member data report, we can go ahead and just simply click on this, and it will repopulate all of the fields that we had previously saved so that we can instantly have access to the exact same report that we had pulled previously. So this is a really, really powerful report tool that you can use to gather information on your club's membership, or on your district's membership, I should say. And of course, with this in combination with all of the other reports that we do offer, will allow you to get a really solid understanding of the status of your district. Now, another question that I see come up quite a bit is in terms of handling members' privacy and having their information stored within ClubRunner. Every so often, your district may receive a request from an inactive member of the district. They were previously with a Rotary Club or just a club in general, and they're no longer with the club and they want to have their information removed. Now, an issue with that is you can't really go in and just delete their profile. Mainly because if you do that, it could mess with some of your stat report statistics, or some of the various other different sections, like say they registered for an event. You want to be able to keep their event registration information. So what you can do is you can use one of a newer tool that our team has provided to clubs and districts that we call the GDPR pseudo-anonymization tool. And what that will do for us, it will allow us to remove the personal information of that member or that ex-member without removing their connection to the various different sections of ClubRunner, like your event registrations, for example. So in order to access this tool, what we can go ahead and do is go to the membership tab in the top blue navigation bar. And we can go ahead to click on GDPR pseudo-anon, which stands for anonymization. If we click on that, it'll bring us to this page here, where we can enter in a number of different details to search for the individual that we're looking for. So we can go ahead and select the club that they were a part of. We can go ahead and enter in the last name of that individual if we have that information. We can go ahead and enter in their Rotary ID number as well. We can enter in their first name, their email address, and their current membership type. So you can select between inactive members or an other user record. And then you can also choose when to find a date as to when they may have been terminated. So if you have a specific range as to when, or you know when they've been terminated, you can use this to select that information as well. And then finally, we have the exclude option. So if there's any areas within ClubRunner that you don't want to touch, you can go ahead and you can select these items to go ahead and prevent these specific items from being anonymized. But we're going to go ahead and leave that as it is for now. And once you're happy with all the information you entered, we can go ahead and click on the search button. And what that will do is it will give us a list of the individuals that fit those specific categories. So we've selected the Rotary Club of Azure Metro here, and it looks like they only currently have one member that has been terminated within their club, which is Russell Day here. Russell Day has reached out to the district, and they are requesting that their information be removed from our records. So instead of just deleting the record, we can go ahead and use this tool to anonymize it. So that way we still retain all of the basic information for event registrations, their attendance information, and if for clubs, you can they have the dues and billing module, which will allow them to invoice clubs for for club dues and things like that. So we can use this tool by selecting the member, and then we can go ahead and click on the process anonymization button down in the bottom right corner. You will get a confirmation message just to confirm for you that by proceeding with this anonymization, all of this data will be changed permanently. You won't be able to go through and undo this change. So it's really important that you go through and you make sure that this is exactly what you're looking to do. Once you are ready to proceed, all you have to do is go ahead and type in the word approve into this text box that we see here, and click on this checkbox that indicates understand the conditions that we mentioned just above. And from there, we can go ahead and click on the process anonymization button that we have in the bottom right corner of this window. So we can go ahead and click on this, and we can now see we have a record. One record has been anonymized. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the list of inactive members for Azure Metro here. So we're going to go ahead and go to membership in the top blue navigation menu, and then clubs and membership below. And of course, this brings us to our list of clubs. And then we're going to find Azure Metro in the website or in the list of clubs and click on the members action. And now we are on the active members list for Azure Metro. And we're going to go ahead and go to inactive members list. Now, what we should see once we see this page is that we have the record here. This was, and it has now been anonymized. So we, instead of showing that in the individual's full name as it was listed before, we can now see their name has been changed to a bunch of random characters that we can take a look at. So their title has changed to a bunch of random characters. Their first name has changed to a bunch of random characters. Everything that they may have had stored within Club Runner, it's all been randomized to some information so that you can't tell who this was anymore. Their information has been anonymized. This way, we still have the record, as I mentioned before, and all of the connections are still there to keep your report statistics up to date and correct, but their information has now been removed from the district's website. So there was one more item that I would like to cover for this Q&A session today. Another common question that we do like to get is what happens if our organization has a number of different types of clubs within the organization. For example, a lot of Rotary districts, they will manage and maintain Rotary clubs. They also have Rotaract clubs for individuals, for I believe working individuals, and then we have Interact clubs for the younger children. I believe that's correct. If I apologize if it's not, but we can create various different types of clubs within the district to help categorize and sort these clubs apart. So what we can do in the top navigation menu, we're going to go to membership one more time. And then we're going to go to manage club types. And then here you can see we already have two types that are listed. We have Rotary clubs and we have Rotaract clubs. And if we move along this chart here, you can see that there are a number of different options that are listed. So this will allow you to control exactly how these different club types will interact between the various different sections of Club Runner. So let's go ahead and we add in a new club type by clicking on the add button here. And then we can go ahead and enter in the information. So let's go ahead and add in the name. So let's say Interact Club. We can enter in a description as well. Let's just go ahead and enter Interact Club as well. And now we can select these various different options. So first one, show in reports, is exactly how it sounds. If we want these club types to be included within our various different reports that we had went over earlier, we can go ahead and select this checkbox. If we want to include these clubs in the homepage directory, we can select this as well. If we want to allow them to record their attendance, we can select this. We can select in attendance. If we want to include them within the various different mailing lists, so if individuals are sending out emails throughout the district's website, this will determine whether their clubs are included within these various different distribution lists. We can choose to allow to include them for event registrations. And then we can also choose to allow them to use RI integration. An important note on this front, currently only regular Rotary clubs are supported through RI integration. So if you are creating a club type for Rotaract or Interact, I'd recommend leaving this unchecked for now. So that way there aren't any issues down the line. Next, we have the option to show in grants. So if we want to allow these members to be able to go in and submit grant reports and things like that using the district grants module, you can go in and you can select this option as well. And once you're happy with all these different tools or these settings, we can go ahead and click on the Save button. And you can see we now have the interact club type has now been created. And now, but how can we go about changing or updating one of our clubs to use this new club type? We can do that through the club's information. So let's go ahead and navigate to that page. That's membership in the top blue navigation bar, and then clubs and membership. From here, we can go ahead and select one of these clubs that we have listed. So let's go ahead and select, Plum Grove here. We're going to go ahead and click on the club info action. And this is going to load up our club information page that we saw earlier when Nick had been showing this off. And then we're going to want to edit our club details. So that's this section right over here. So we can go ahead and click on the edit button that is shown here. This will bring up our club information page or club information window. And we can, from the fourth option here is the club type, which we can click on the drop-down menu, and we can now change this club to one of our various other different club types that we have created. So let's go ahead and select Interact Club. And then we can go ahead and click Save. And now this club has now been changed to an Interact Club. Of course, we didn't change the name, so it's still going to say Rotary Club of Plum Grove. But the club type itself has now been updated, and it will now follow the rules that we had just set when we created the club type itself. So that just about wraps up all the things that I wanted to cover today within our Q&A session for this webinar. So with that said, if you do have any other questions that you do want to have to reach out and you can want answers to, you can either go to our clubrunnersupport.com, take a look at any of the hundreds of different help articles, videos, and guides that we offer to see if any of these might answer your question. If hopefully there should be something there for everyone and you'll be happy with your answers, but if not, you can always feel free to reach out to our Club Runner support team by going to our clubrunnersupport.com website. In the top right-hand corner, you can click on Contact Us. And from there, you can go ahead and enter in the information regarding your request. So they'll ask for your name, your email address to contact you back with. And then you can write in the subject line for your question and any specific details within the message of your email. And this will get, once you've submitted this, it will get sent over to our support team. So either myself, Zach here, or any of our other support colleagues will receive this email and will be glad to assist you to the best of our abilities. You can also go ahead and email us directly by sending us an email to support@clubrunner.ca. And if you'd like to go ahead and speak with a bunch of other Club Runner users, maybe you can have a discussion with them and collaborate for some features that you'd like to be able to create. You can go to our clubrunnercommunity.com website. And finally, we also offer the Club Runner mobile app, which will allow you to have your club or district directory at the palm of your hand on your own personal mobile device, including iPhones and Androids. So it's a really great pocket tool for you to go through and make sure you have all of your information in one place. So with that said, thank you everyone for joining us today in our district training webinar. I hope all the information that we did cover today was extremely useful for you, and you're all leaving here with having learned something. So again, thank you for joining us. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Take care.